Hi guys, Fab from Hoosh Marketing here, and today we're going to be learning how to diagnose and fix Marketo Munchkin issues. The Marketo Munchkin code is like the headlights of your vehicle. Without Munchkin tracking, Marketo is effectively blind. There's many issues that will occur in Marketo if the tracking is not working. For example, any website triggers won't work, a lot of campaigns that rely on those triggers will fail, or just fail in general if they rely on tracking. But more importantly, there's valuable analytics data that's just not being collected. And there's a host of other issues that happen if your Munchkin tracking isn't working. So what do you do when Munchkin tracking stops working? Well, basically we're going to cover the common scenarios. So today we're going to cover finding and fixing when a Munchkin code's been deleted. So this happens quite frequently, more frequently than you think. And then the second scenario is how to find, diagnose, and fix a malfunctioning Munchkin code. Let's assume you've diagnosed your Munchkin code as being broken. One of the first things we need to check is the Munchkin code even on your website? The quickest way to check this and the easiest way is to use the Marketo Health Checker. So if you go to marketohealth.info, it will bring up the checker. You'll enter your details here, including your website address, and click Get My Report. Then you need to check your email. You'll get a detailed report. And what we're looking for here is this bit here, tracking code results. So you'll see there's an error in the tracking code. There's no Marketo tracking found. So we've diagnosed the problem. For some reason, the tracking code is missing. What we'll need to do is get that tracking code, send it to our IT team so they can reinstall it. The other way you can do it is manually. Go to your website, your Marketo website, click anywhere and select View Page Source. It'll bring up the HTML. Then you can do a Control F, search for Munchkin, and what we're looking for is basically this line of code here, munchkin.js, and also this Munchkin init line. So those two things will tell you that the Munchkin code is installed on your website. To prevent this happening again, what I would recommend is subscribing to the health checker using this little tick box here, and then you'll get a report each week. That way, if it's broken, it'll be flagged to you immediately, rather than you discovering that a week later. If the Marketo Health Checker returned positive results for the Munchkin code tracking, but you're still not seeing website activity, then there's likely an issue with the Munchkin code not firing. To check if that's the case, you'll need to perform this check. It's a bit technical, but if you follow my lead, it shouldn't be too hard for you. Go to your website where your Munchkin code is installed. I'm doing this in the Chrome browser, and I recommend that to do this test, but you may be able to do it on your particular browser. Right-click anywhere on the page and select Inspect Element. Click on the Network tab down here, and then refresh the page. So what the Network tab is going to show me is all the files that are being loaded by this particular website. And what we're particularly interested in is seeing if there's a particular page being loaded by Marketo Munchkin. Because if we see that particular line, then Munchkin code is definitely activating and firing on our website. So what you need to do is you may need to scroll. It might not be at the end like it is here, so you might need to scroll through this list. But what you're looking for is this particular entry here, visit web page. And you'll notice it's going to this website, mktoresponse.com. So this is the Munchkin code firing an event and basically logging website activity to Marketo. You'll notice that it's actually being called by the Munchkin code script. So we know for a fact now that the Munchkin code is actually firing and data is going to Marketo. Now, whether Marketo is going to display that information, we'll cover that later, but at least now we know that the Munchkin code is firing. Now, if the Munchkin code isn't firing, then we need to do some extra steps. It's most likely, if it's not firing, there's some kind of conflict between the Munchkin code and some other piece of JavaScript on your website, which is a pretty common occurrence. Before you do that, you can use the health checker to test what style of Munchkin code you are using. So when you get your report, scroll down to the tracking code results, look for tracking details, and you'll see that it's using the asynchronous jQuery tracking. Now, if it's not simple, that's when you'll need to go and get the simple code and send it to your IT. So if it is simple, then that's another case we're going to cover next. But let's say you're using the asynchronous version. You need to then go into Marketo, go to the admin section, go to the Munchkin sidebar menu, and select the simple in the drop down in tracking. So we were using asynchronous jQuery, but we want simple. Simple just makes it less likely to conflict with other JavaScript. So what you need to do is copy that particular piece of script, send it to your IT team so they can replace the current Munchkin tracking code, which is not firing, with this one. The second scenario in a malfunctioning Munchkin code is if your Munchkin code is firing and you've determined that through the previous check. However, there is no data going into Marketo. So what we need to do at this point is make sure that the tracking code you're using doesn't have an error in it. And the most likely one is that the Munchkin account ID is incorrect. So I'm going to show you how to check that. What you'll need to do is run a health check if you haven't already. So go to marketohealth.info and enter your site and then get a report sent to your inbox. If you go to your inbox to report, what we're looking for is go down to the tracking code results. Look for this particular code here. So 722, that is your Munchkin account ID. What we need to do is check that's the same as the one Marketo. So let's jump into Marketo. We go to the admin section, Munchkin Code menu item here, and we want to make sure it's the same as this one here. So what you'll notice is that it isn't. So this one starts with 722, this one is 761. So that is the error in this particular case. It is logging website activity, but it's going to the wrong website, and therefore our Marketo isn't picking it up. If the Munchkin code is firing and the account ID is matching your Marketo, then this most likely means there's a slowdown in tracking from Marketo's side. I'd wait a few hours and see if it resolves itself. If it doesn't, you'll need to let Marketo support know. So make sure you let support know you've conducted a thorough analysis. So tell them the steps you've gone through this particular tutorial, and this will save them time so they can skip those steps that you've already conducted and find the real root cause of this happening. And there you have it. Follow this guide each time you have a Marketo Munchkin support. And 9 times out of 10, you'll be able to diagnose and fix the problem yourself